There are moments in life when everything feels loud. The mind races ahead, the body feels heavy, and despite all the effort, nothing seems to truly change. You wake up with good intentions, promising yourself that today will be different, that today you will finally become calmer, healthier, more focused, more fulfilled. Yet by the time the day ends, the same patterns quietly return, the same thoughts, the same habits, the same exhaustion. And somewhere deep inside, a question begins to form, soft but persistent. Is this really all there is? What if the problem is not your lack of motivation? What if the problem is not discipline, willpower, or intelligence? What if the problem is the way change itself has been taught to you? In the modern world, we are conditioned to believe that transformation must be dramatic. We are told that healing should be fast, success should be instant, and enlightenment should arrive like a lightning bolt. We chase breakthroughs, waiting for that one big moment that will finally fix everything. But ancient wisdom, quietly echoed by modern science, tells a very different story. A story that does not shout but whispers. A story that does not rush but unfolds gently. A story known in Japan as Kaizen. Kaizen means improvement, but not the kind that overwhelms you. It means becoming just 1% better every single day. Not through force, but through alignment. Not through struggle, but through awareness. And when you look closely, you begin to realize that this simple idea mirrors something far older, something deeply spiritual, something the Buddha himself taught more than 2,000 years ago. The Buddha never spoke of instant perfection, he spoke of the middle path, of right effort, of small mindful steps taken again and again. He understood something that neuroscience would only confirm centuries later, that the human mind and body do not change through intensity, but through consistency, through gentle repetition, through patience. Kaizen is not a productivity hack. It is not a self-help trick. It is a philosophy of living that slowly reshapes your nervous system, your habits, your health, and even your sense of self. It is the art of becoming powerful without becoming restless, disciplined without becoming harsh, and calm without becoming passive. Imagine standing beside a quiet stream. You watch the water move, not in a rush, not with effort, yet over time it shapes stone. Not through force, but through persistence. That is Kaizen, and that is how real transformation happens. Modern neuroscience tells us that the brain is not fixed. It is plastic, constantly reshaping itself based on what you repeatedly do, think, and feel. Each small action strengthens a neural pathway. Each repeated behavior becomes easier, more automatic, more natural. When you attempt massive change all at once, the brain resists. The stress response activates. Cortisol rises. The nervous system enters survival mode. But when change is small, safe, and gentle, the brain relaxes. Learning accelerates, healing begins. This is why so many people fail at big resolutions, but succeed at tiny habits. A 5-minute walk done daily reshapes the body more reliably than an intense workout done once and abandoned. A single mindful breath practiced every morning calms the nervous system more deeply than a weekend retreat followed by months of neglect. The brain does not care about your intentions. It responds to repetition. Buddha's teaching of right effort was never about pushing harder. It was about sustaining effort without strain, about knowing when to apply energy and when to soften. Kaizen lives exactly in that space. It invites you to improve without violence toward yourself, to grow without rejecting who you are today. Health, too, responds to Kaizen. Chronic stress does not destroy the body overnight. It accumulates silently through years of tension, shallow breathing, poor sleep, and unresolved emotion. In the same way, healing does not require dramatic intervention for most people. It begins when you consistently lower stress by small degrees, when you sleep 10 minutes earlier, when you chew your food more slowly, when you take one conscious breath before reacting. The parasympathetic nervous system, responsible for repair, digestion, and immunity, activates not through force, but through safety. Kaizen creates safety. It tells your body, you are not under attack. You are allowed to change slowly. And when the body feels safe, it begins to heal. Psychology teaches us something equally important. Identity does not change first. Behavior does. When you perform a small positive action daily, your brain slowly updates its self-image. You stop saying, I am trying to be calm, and start becoming someone who naturally responds with calm. You stop saying, I want to be healthy, and start living as someone who respects their body. This identity shift is subtle, but it is profound. The Buddha spoke often of becoming, of how the self is not fixed but conditioned. Each moment conditions the next. Each thought leaves a trace. Kaizen works at the level of conditioning. It reshapes the stream of becoming itself. In Western culture, we are often taught to judge ourselves harshly for inconsistency. Miss one day, and the inner critic grows loud. You failed. You are weak. You will never change. But Kaizen does not punish. It simply invites you back. One step, one breath, one choice, today. This gentleness is not weakness. It is wisdom. Studies in behavioral psychology show that self-compassion increases long-term discipline far more than self-criticism. When you forgive yourself for imperfection, you return faster. When you attack yourself, you avoid the path entirely. Buddha understood this. Kaizen embodies it. As days turn into weeks, something quiet begins to happen. The nervous system stabilizes, sleep deepens, focus improves. The mind becomes less reactive, not because life becomes easier, but because you become steadier. You stop chasing dramatic change and start trusting the process. This is why Kaizen feels almost invisible at first. There is no rush of excitement, no sudden transformation, just a subtle sense that things are no longer as heavy as they used to be, that you are meeting life with a little more space, a little more clarity, a little more kindness. And then one day you look back and realize how far you have come. Not through force, not through struggle, but through quiet persistence. This is not a philosophy for monks alone. It is for parents, professionals, seekers, and skeptics. It works because it respects how humans actually function. It aligns ancient spiritual insight with modern science. It honors the nervous system, the brain, and the heart. In a world addicted to speed, Kaizen teaches patience. In a culture obsessed with intensity, it teaches balance. In a society that equates worth with achievement, it teaches presence. And this is only the beginning of the journey. Because once you understand Kaizen, you begin to see it everywhere. In the way monks walk slowly, step by step, fully aware. In the way the breath gently enters and leaves the body. In the way neurons fire, one signal at a time, building entire worlds of thought and emotion. In the next part, we will go deeper. We will explore how Kaizen reshapes the brain at a neurological level, how it dissolves anxiety, strengthens focus, and creates a calm power that does not fade under pressure. We will see how ancient Buddhist practice and modern neuroscience are not opposites, but reflections of the same truth. For now, let this idea settle gently within you. You do not need to change everything today. You only need to move 1% closer to balance. And tomorrow, you do it again. Not because you are broken, but because you are becoming. As the idea of Kaizen begins to settle into your awareness, something subtle happens. You stop looking for sudden breakthroughs and start noticing small shifts. A quieter response where there was once irritation, a deeper breath where there was once tension, a moment of clarity where there was once confusion. These moments may seem insignificant, but inside your brain, something remarkable is unfolding. Modern neuroscience reveals that the brain is constantly listening, not to what you promise yourself, but to what you repeat. Every action, no matter how small, sends a signal. Every repeated behavior strengthens a neural circuit. This is how habits are formed, and this is how they are changed. When you choose a tiny improvement, something gentle but powerful occurs. The brain does not activate its threat system. There is no flood of stress hormones. The amygdala remains calm. Instead, the prefrontal cortex, the region responsible for awareness, decision-making, and emotional regulation, stays engaged. Learning becomes possible. Change becomes sustainable. This is why Kaizen feels calm. It works with the nervous system, not against it. Buddha spoke of the mind as something to be trained gradually, like tuning a musical instrument. Too tight, and it snaps. Too loose, and it makes no sound. Kaizen lives in that precise tuning. It applies just enough effort to create movement, but not so much that the system collapses under pressure. Anxiety, which has become almost a background noise in modern life, is not just a mental state. It is a physiological pattern. The body remains on high alert. The breath becomes shallow. The heart rate increases. Muscles stay tense. When people try to fix anxiety with force, they often make it worse. They push themselves to relax. They fight their thoughts. The nervous system interprets this as danger. Kaizen offers a different approach. Instead of trying to eliminate anxiety, it gently reduces it by degrees. One calmer breath, one slightly slower movement, one small moment of presence. Over time, these moments accumulate. The vagus nerve, which plays a key role in calming the body, becomes more active. Heart rate variability improves. The body relearns safety. Scientific studies show that small, consistent mindfulness practices can physically reshape the brain. The hippocampus, associated with learning and emotional balance, grows stronger. The amygdala, the fear center, becomes less reactive. These changes do not happen overnight. They happen through repetition, through Kaizen. The Buddha never asked his students to silence the mind instantly. He invited them to observe it, to return again and again without judgment. This returning is Kaizen in its purest form. Not forcing calm, but cultivating it. Calm, however, does not mean weakness. One of the greatest misunderstandings in Western culture is that calm people lack drive or ambition. In truth, calm is what allows power to be focused. A scattered mind wastes energy. A calm mind directs it. Neuroscience confirms this. When the brain is overwhelmed, decision-making deteriorates. Reaction replaces response. But when the nervous system is regulated, cognitive resources become available. Focus sharpens. Creativity increases. Willpower stabilizes. This is the calm power Kaizen creates. Not the explosive energy that burns out quickly, but a steady flame that lasts. Think of a martial artist trained in a traditional monastery. Their movements are slow, deliberate, and precise. Power is not rushed, it is stored. Buddha understood that true strength is quiet. Kaizen trains this quiet strength in everyday life. Even physical health responds to this approach. Chronic inflammation, now linked to heart disease, diabetes, and depression, is deeply connected to stress. Small daily practices that lower stress can reduce inflammatory markers over time. A few minutes of mindful breathing, a short walk in nature, a consistent sleep routine improved by small adjustments. People often wait for motivation to begin. Kaizen reverses this logic. Action comes first, motivation follows. The brain releases dopamine not when you achieve a massive goal, but when you complete a manageable action. This creates a positive feedback loop. You feel capable, you feel encouraged, you continue. The Buddha described joy as something that arises naturally on the path, not as something to be chased. Kaizen aligns with this. Each small success creates quiet satisfaction, not excitement, but contentment. As weeks pass, your identity begins to shift. You no longer see yourself as someone struggling to improve. You see yourself as someone who practices improvement. This distinction changes everything. The brain loves consistency. Once an identity forms, behavior follows naturally. Psychologists call this self-perception theory. Buddhists call it conditioning. Kaizen bridges both. In relationships too, Kaizen works quietly. One slightly more attentive conversation, one moment of listening instead of reacting, one pause before speaking. Over time, trust deepens, conflict softens, presence replaces impatience. This is why Kaizen is not just a self-improvement method, it is a way of living. It affects how you eat, how you move, how you speak, how you think, and how you rest. It brings spirituality out of abstraction and into daily life. Buddha taught that liberation is found not by escaping the world, but by understanding it deeply. Kaizen invites you to engage with life fully, but gently, to improve without aggression, to grow without self-rejection. There is a quiet humility in this path. You accept that change takes time, you stop demanding perfection, you honor the process. This humility itself reduces suffering. The mind relaxes when it is no longer under constant evaluation. In Western society, where self-worth is often tied to achievement, Kaizen offers relief. You are not valuable because you transformed dramatically. You are valuable because you showed up again and again with awareness. As the mind becomes calmer, something else emerges. Clarity. You begin to see which habits nourish you and which drain you. You become less reactive to external noise. The opinions of others lose their grip. You move more in alignment with your values. This clarity is not forced. It arises naturally when mental clutter reduces. Just as muddy water becomes clear when left undisturbed, the mind reveals wisdom when it is no longer constantly agitated. Buddha referred to this as seeing things as they are. Kaizen prepares the mind for this seeing by reducing internal resistance. At this stage, many people notice a profound shift. They stop trying to control life and start cooperating with it. Effort becomes intelligent, rest becomes intentional, action becomes aligned. And yet, this is still not the full depth of Kaizen. Because beyond habits and health, beyond calm and focus, Kaizen touches something deeper. It reshapes how you relate to time itself. You stop rushing toward a future version of yourself. You begin to respect the present moment as the only place where change actually occurs. In the next part, we will explore how Kaizen transforms time, purpose, and meaning, how it helps dissolve the quiet suffering of comparison, impatience, and self-doubt, how it aligns you with the deeper rhythm of life that Buddha pointed toward, and science is only beginning to understand. For now, notice what has already shifted within you. Not dramatically, not loudly, but gently. That is how real change begins. As Kaizen continues to quietly shape your inner world, your relationship with time begins to change. You may not notice it immediately, but something fundamental shifts. The constant pressure to arrive somewhere else starts to soften. The future no longer feels like a place you must reach to finally feel at peace. The present moment begins to feel sufficient, workable, alive. Much of modern suffering is not caused by what is happening, but by our resistance to time. We rush, not because life demands it, but because the mind is always chasing a future version of ourselves. A calmer self, a healthier self, a more successful self. This constant postponement of wholeness creates subtle exhaustion. Kaizen gently dissolves this tension by teaching you that becoming happens only here, only now, one small step at a time. Buddha taught that craving is the root of suffering. Craving does not only mean desire for objects, it includes the desire to be someone else, somewhere else faster than life allows. Kaizen counters craving not by suppression, but by realism. It respects the pace of human growth. It invites patience, not as a moral virtue, but as a biological necessity. Neuroscience supports this wisdom. The brain does not integrate change when it is rushed. Learning consolidates during rest. Memory forms during sleep. Emotional processing unfolds over time. When you slow down enough to make small, sustainable improvements, you allow these natural processes to work in your favor. You stop fighting your own biology. As your pace softens, something unexpected happens. Your awareness deepens. You start noticing the subtle signals of your body and mind. Hunger, fatigue, tension, inspiration. These signals were always present, but they were drowned out by urgency. Kaizen creates space for listening. This listening is deeply spiritual. Buddha emphasized mindfulness not as a technique, but as a way of being present with reality. When you make small improvements consistently, you are forced to pay attention. You cannot rush through a single conscious breath. You must feel it. You must be here. Over time, this presence begins to heal old patterns of self-doubt. Many people carry a quiet belief that they are not enough until they change completely. Kaizen challenges this belief gently. It says, you are enough to begin, and beginning is enough. Psychologically, this is powerful. Self-worth stops being conditional. You no longer measure your value by dramatic outcomes. You measure it by integrity, by whether you showed up with awareness today. This shift reduces anxiety at its root. In Western culture, comparison is a constant companion. Social media, productivity metrics, and endless benchmarks encourage us to measure our lives against others. Kaizen redirects attention inward. Your only comparison becomes yesterday's version of yourself. And even that comparison is gentle. This internal orientation stabilizes the mind. Studies show that intrinsic motivation, driven by personal values rather than external validation, leads to greater well-being and persistence. Kaizen naturally cultivates this motivation because progress becomes personal, not performative. As the need to impress fades, authenticity emerges. You act less for appearance and more for alignment. You begin to choose habits that nourish you rather than impress others. This authenticity brings a quiet confidence that does not depend on approval. Buddha spoke of confidence as faith in the path. Not blind belief, but trust built through experience. Kaizen builds this trust slowly. Each small success reinforces the belief that change is possible. Not someday, now. There is also a profound emotional healing that unfolds through this process. Many emotional wounds persist because they were formed gradually and unconsciously. Trying to heal them with sudden insight often fails. Kaizen heals in the same way the wounds were created. Slowly, gently, repetitively. A kinder thought repeated daily begins to soften self-criticism. A moment of pause before reacting begins to dissolve anger. A consistent practice of gratitude begins to rewire attention toward abundance. Neuroscience confirms that repeated emotional states strengthen corresponding neural networks. Kaizen uses this mechanism consciously. This is not suppression of emotion. It is cultivation. You are not forcing positivity. You are creating conditions for balance. Buddha taught that wholesome states arise when conditions support them. Kaizen is the art of shaping those conditions. As emotional balance improves, your energy returns. Not as excitement, but as steadiness. You feel less drained by small challenges. You recover faster from stress. This resilience is one of the greatest gifts of Kaizen. Resilience is not about avoiding difficulty. It is about meeting difficulty without collapse. A nervous system trained through small, manageable challenges learns that it can cope. This confidence carries into every area of life. You begin to trust yourself. Not because you are perfect, but because you are consistent. At this stage, many people notice a shift in purpose. Goals become less about proving something and more about expressing something. You ask different questions. Not how fast can I get there, but how can I live this day well? This question is deeply Buddhist. It brings ethics, presence, and wisdom into everyday life. Purpose stops being a distant destination and becomes a daily practice. Kaizen transforms purpose from an abstract idea into a lived experience. Each small act aligned with your values becomes meaningful. This sense of meaning has measurable health benefits. Research shows that people with a strong sense of purpose live longer, experience less depression, and recover faster from illness. Purpose regulates stress responses. It gives context to effort, Kaizen provides a practical way to embody purpose without overwhelm. As you live this way, time no longer feels like an enemy. You stop racing against it. You cooperate with it. Each day becomes a step, not a test. Progress becomes quiet but reliable. Buddha described enlightenment not as a dramatic event, but as the ending of confusion. Kaizen reduces confusion by simplifying life. One step, one breath, one choice. Over time, clarity accumulates. This clarity brings peace, not the absence of activity, but the absence of inner conflict. You stop fighting yourself. You stop demanding that today be different from what it is. You work with reality instead of against it. And yet, even now, the journey is not complete. Because Kaizen does not end with personal calm or individual improvement. It naturally extends outward. As you become steadier, your presence begins to affect others. Your calm influences rooms. Your patience softens conversations. Your consistency inspires without preaching. In the final part, we will explore how Kaizen becomes a way of serving life itself. How small daily improvements ripple outward into relationships, community, and the world. And how this quiet philosophy, rooted in ancient wisdom and confirmed by modern science, ultimately leads to a life that is not just improved, but deeply fulfilled. For now, rest in this understanding. You are not late. You are not behind. You are exactly where change happens. Here, as Kaizen continues to deepen within you, something remarkable begins to happen. The changes you once thought were private, internal, almost invisible, start to radiate outward. Not because you are trying to influence others, but because inner alignment naturally expresses itself. Calm becomes contagious. Presence becomes felt. Your way of being begins to speak louder than any words you could choose. Buddha taught that the mind shapes the world, not metaphorically but practically. When the mind is agitated, the world feels hostile. When the mind is calm, the same world appears workable, even compassionate. Kaizen slowly reshapes the mind, and in doing so, reshapes your experience of reality. In relationships, this transformation is profound. You begin to listen more fully, not because you trained yourself to be polite, but because your nervous system is no longer in a constant state of defense. When you are calm, you do not rush to interrupt. When you are grounded, you do not need to win every conversation. Small daily improvements in awareness soften interactions that once felt tense. Modern psychology confirms this. Emotional regulation in one person often leads to co-regulation in others. A calm presence signals safety. Safety invites honesty. Over time, trust grows not through grand gestures, but through consistency. Through Kaizen, you may notice that people feel more comfortable around you. Conversations deepen. Conflict loses its sharp edge. This is not because life becomes perfect, but because you meet imperfection with steadiness. Buddha described compassion not as pity, but as understanding born of clarity. Kaizen cultivates this clarity. Even your relationship with work begins to change. You stop oscillating between overexertion and exhaustion. Instead, effort becomes sustainable. You improve your craft a little each day. You focus on process rather than outcome. Ironically, this often leads to better results because your energy is no longer fragmented by anxiety. Neuroscience explains why. When stress is chronic, cognitive flexibility declines. Creativity narrows, but when the nervous system is regulated, the brain enters a state of optimal performance. Kaizen creates the conditions for this state to emerge naturally. There is also a deep ethical dimension to Kaizen. Buddha emphasized right livelihood, right speech, right action. These were never meant to be rigid rules. They were meant to be practiced gradually. Each day you refine your intentions. You notice where you cause harm unintentionally. You adjust gently. This ongoing refinement is Kaizen in action. Rather than striving to be morally perfect, you become morally attentive. You care about impact. You learn from mistakes without collapsing into guilt. This balance between responsibility and compassion is rare, and it is deeply healing. This stability creates resilience. When life brings loss, uncertainty, or change, you are not shattered. You have trained yourself to adapt slowly, to respond rather than react, to trust small steps even in difficult terrain. Buddha reminded his students that life includes suffering, but suffering does not have to include despair. Kaizen embodies this truth. It acknowledges difficulty without being defeated by it. It keeps you moving, even when progress feels slow. Over time, something quietly sacred emerges. You begin to feel at home in your own life, not because everything is resolved, but because you are no longer at war with the process. You trust that becoming unfolds at the pace it needs to. This trust is peace. And peace, when grounded in daily practice, becomes power. Not power over others, but power within yourself. The power to choose wisely, to pause, to continue. Kaizen teaches you that greatness is not built through dramatic effort, but through gentle persistence. That healing is not forced, but invited. That wisdom is not accumulated, but lived. As you return to your day, remember this: you do not need to change your entire life. You only need to meet this moment with a little more awareness than the last. One breath, one choice, 1%. And tomorrow you begin again. If this journey resonated with you, if these reflections brought even a small sense of clarity or calm, know that you are not alone on this path. Here, we explore wisdom that heals, science that grounds, and spirituality that feels practical and alive. Subscribe to Divine and Spiritual 0369 for more transformative teachings, gentle guidance, and timeless insights that support inner peace, clarity, and lasting well-being. Until we meet again, walk gently. Growth is already happening,